Our Friend Martin is a harrowing tale of the childhood of Martin Luther King Jr., showing his fall from grace during his high school years in the 70s, before his mass killings became infamous 2 decades later. We see a young MLK crafted into what he will become by the America at the time, asking whether looking back at these telltale signs, we could have stopped his madness or even gotten him on the right track. We may never know. Okay, in all seriousness, Our Friend Martin is a curious odyssey, created in 1999 and definitely reached the 90s, and it kinda holds a place in my childhood. Pretty much everyone in elementary school in the 2000s have had this shown in their class around the time of Martin Luther King Day. And with that in mind, even though it's technically Black History Month, I want to revisit this for you, and I'm gonna do it relatively cold. That doesn't mean I won't give background info on it, like it came because a child of the dick executive wondered, why isn't there a Martin Luther King special? Because there are so many specials for like Christmas and Halloween and stuff, why doesn't Martin Luther King have one? That they use exclusive archival footage from the King family, or it even was nominated for an Emmy but lost to Spawn. I could go on to that, but it's best to go in, for those who actually haven't seen this, to go in with very little info at all. Because, ooh, it's a treat, trust me. In fact, to keep said surprise surprise, I'm skipping the first minute of this film because it gives a vague scene with no context in it, but giving you a great hook. But for me, I'd rather leave it vague because it kinda spoils some stuff-ish. We open on 90s suburbia with our protagonist Miles, a seemingly fleshed out version of the 90s Black Token.
Later, Mom! I'm history.
Foreshadowing.
And speaking of hard work, you make sure you hit those books instead of hitting that baseball when you get home from school today. Understood?
But, Mom, if I don't practice, how am I gonna grow up to hammer like Hank Aaron?
But, Mom, I won't live until I get baseball literally ejected into my veins. Miles leaves for school when an older version of that bully from Cool Cat is coming for his ass, complete with the most 90s of dialogue.
Where you going, micro dude?
Why did they call you Cool Cat? They should call you Dumb Cat.
Oh, give it up, chump. The cavalry ain't coming. No! Wildman Willis!
My Jesus Christ! Look, he's gonna crash into the kids! The idea wasn't to let them old man drive.
Oh no, I just made my last payment. Ooh.
With the bully missing the bus and ruining his shirt, he gets a ride from his dad, John Travolta. No, seriously.
And as for you, I got better things to do than to drive you to school every stinking day.
But, Dad,
But nothing. The only butt you need to worry about is yours if you keep giving me grief.
Yeah. It is basically an edutainment movie, just boatload full of celebrity voices. From John Travolta here to earlier Miles' mom being played by Oprah Winfrey. We even have Ed Asner.
Hi, I'm Ed Asner.
Jaleel White, Samuel L. Jackson, Whoopi Goldberg, LeVar Burton, Susan Sarandon, James Earl Jones, and so much more. I like to think that the producers kind of waved like a little sigh of relief that this wasn't made like 5 or 6 years earlier when like OJ would have like a role in here and such. Given this film is barely 60 minutes long, many of these celebrity voices actually range from 2 minutes at the very most. Some I think are barely there for a minute. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go get some midnight ass at the gym. And wave goodbye to Travolta, everyone. This is the last we'll ever see of him. Get the purpose of what they're trying to do, the whole, I learned it from watching you. But the bully is not really racist, he's just a bully. I mean, you never really get the feeling that he hates Miles because he's a darky. It's just more, he hates Miles. But I don't know, it just feels really tame when you're talking about a movie about the injustices of segregated America and talking about the children. Would have been real nice to show kids the power of Martin Luther King's message through actually, like, changing an actual racist instead of, you know, oh, he was just, you know, a bad person overall, not actually racist. That's actually gonna be a theme of this film. Simplifying down elements for a family-friendly edutainment to make it all squeaky clean. Except for moments of possibly unintended enlightenment, which is maybe the best word I could describe it. Alright, let's fast forward to this scene, and we get this from Miles.
Get real. When you're living in color, sports and entertainment are the only sure bets for making the big time.
It's actually a bit wise beyond your years there, kid. But damn if it doesn't speak volumes for how black people were viewed in the 90s. In class, the bully returns and we are greeted with the rest of the cast. A Latina girl named Maria, Miles' radical friend Randy, who seems to be his token best friend. Ah, true equality.
Hey, Miles, we're joining the academic dream team.
Someone must have slipped some redneck into his juice pack. It's weird seeing a character, which is clearly based on the Californian skater boy archetype, speaking with that southern drawl. In fact, this isn't really the only time where the voice cast and voice acting doesn't match the animation at all. Speaking of voices, we are greeted to the sultry voice of Susan Sarandon and oof.
You have gotten very complacent lately.
Mrs. Clark, are you trying to seduce me? Miles is held after class when this clip art on the computer tells that he's failing class. But I also like to believe that this is his way of getting closer to the teacher, because come on, wouldn't you hit Susan fucking Sarandon?
Miles, Dr. King opened up a whole new world for the entire country.
Teacher, your chalkboard's in the fricks. Let me try to fix that. Yeah, these obviously moving green screens that stand out. If these somehow bug you, too bad, so sad. They're here to stay. I get it kinda gives the film a unique style, but it also kinda feels like, crap, we gotta fill this scene out with something. Archival footage. Yeah, this is an edutainment something. And the makeup for all those poor Korean animators working hard, they had to digitally scrub the background at times to lessen their animation work. Look, it's either you get Susan Sarandon's sultry voice or you get good animation. There's no in between in this. Oh really? I just assumed it was Andrew Jackson's house with a Trail of Tears reenactment. But hey, it's a new record. They only lost 6 kids on this bus trip. Here we meet our tour guide Whoopi Goldberg, a voice which doesn't match this character's actions at all.
No autographs, photo shoots, nothing today. My good side's a little off. As you'll soon find out, this house is very unique. Magical, even.
You mean like Hocus Pocus?
Like black voodoo magic, my mama tells me Planned Parenthood does. They take their tour of the house and meet the main attraction of the Martin Luther King exhibit. A poor black boy calling for help trapped in the photo. Whoopi shows the class Martin's old room, which looks as amazing as it naturally would sound, and because there's a baseball mitt, Matt wants to break in and take a look, now earning him a lifetime sentence for breaking and entering.
Who's gonna know?
Just the 3 of us. Usually do this, but I'll let you poke around in here for a few minutes to get the feel of the place. I don't know what it is, but every time I step into this room, something possesses me to wind this old watch.
You call it plot contrivance. I call it magic. Well, I mean, this is just a movie about animated kids learning how whack Martin Luther King Jr. was. What possible supernatural events could happen?
Randy? Whoa, freaky. Get it off, man.
And before you think it's the spirit of MLK feeding on the souls of wandering children, Miles and Whitey are transported through time and space, but it seems that Whoopi may have overshot the time travel and now they're in the South in 1850. Nah, I'm just kidding. They're in good old 1930s America, which is like marginally better, but you know, you're still gonna get hanged. And here we meet the main plot of the movie, a young Martin Luther King Jr.
Up in a pool hall. Boy, that's a nice jersey. You a baseball fan?
You know it. This is Hank Aaron's number. In my book, he was the greatest slugger of all time. He hit more home runs than Babe Ruth. 755.
Oh, right. I bet you're gonna tell me he's colored, too.
Aw, aren't you just a precocious figure who's wise beyond his years and not acting like a fucking damn 12-year-old? Let's play some baseball with 90s kumbaya music. Take that back. Remove the music. But it looks like the 30s version of a soccer mom comes in after she sees some color mixing going on.
If your daddy catches you, he'll tan your hides and give me all kinds of heck to boot.
Your husband would get burnt over this? Man, tell him to get a life.
But you gotta enjoy this family-friendly racism when you're too pussy to show kids actual racism. Come on, at least give me something.
Well, it ain't natural, I tell you. I suggest you leave them Negroes alone, or the only hanging you'll be doing with them is from a tree.
Well, I got what I wished for. Damn.
Well, if she hates me, I'll hate her back. Own it.
What'll that solve? My daddy says hate is rooted in fear, and the only cure for fear and hate is love.
Again, you're a fucking 12-year-old boy, not the fucking Messiah. Says Martin leaves, they touch the minute and do another time warp again. This time a bit into the future with a newly graduated Martin. Oh, and I should mention that Martin keeps changing voice actors. Alright, I'm like mid-fucking editing of this. And I like just noticed in the preview screen that Miles and Randy's eyeline is not even matching Martin's. They are not even looking at each other. They are not the same proportions. I don't even think they're in the same dimensions. Just how? How do you mess that up? And now get back to regularly scheduled review. Oh god. To where it is really off-putting. Here he's played by Jaleel White, which really stands out because nothing inspires treating a fellow man with kindness with this dweeb. I'm someone who'd be described as a nerd, and I still want to beat him up for his lunch money. And we all know how Family Matters treats the delicate subject of racism.
Oh my God. Laura, what's wrong? If you want Black history, go back to Africa.
Young man, you best move to the other part of the dining car.
How come?
Cause this section for colors.
But I want to ride with my friends.
Suit yourself then.
Blacks and whites can't eat together. That's nuts.
Imagine it. Blacks and whites eating together. Mass hysteria. Here we are greeted with another history lesson. And it helps that they are passing by documentary town, it seems. Martin offers them dinner at his parents' place. We meet Martin Luther Sr. here, played by James Earl Jones. So I expect the father-son relationship for them to go a bit like this.
Who in the hell ever said, I got to like you? What law is there to say, I got to like you? Do you want to stand up in my face and ask me some damn fool-ass question like that? Talk about liking somebody. Come here, boy, when I talk to you.
I'm afraid I've never met you two young gentlemen before.
We're from out of town, Reverend King.
Yeah,
way out of town.
Get back to way out of town where you belong! Eventually stay the night until they are blasted off again. And man, this basically makes Miles and Randy, these cosmic freeloaders, were just constantly hoarding off Martin Luther King's life.
I'm not sure how, but we're sort of time traveling through your life.
Time traveling through my life? Is that one of those new television shows or something?
Yeah, like a Star Trek, perhaps. And well, speaking of Star Trek, Martin number 2 is played by Next Generation and Reading Rainbow's LeVar Burton. And it is such a difference comparing him with Jaleel. And let's not even bring in MLK's actual voice here.
College? Well, I'm only 15, but I graduated early.
How'd you do that?
Well, I bet my oldest sister, Christine, that if I studied hard, I'd graduate early and go to college with her.
We must meet hate with love. To make change, we must meet violence with non-violence.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream.
Here they do try to fully convince Martin they're from the past through the absolute lamest of means.
Miles, did you say 1956?
Yeah, that means Hank Aaron was an all-star for Milwaukee last year.
That's right. It sure feels good to see him and Jackie Robinson getting some respect.
And then they get themselves another history lesson, this time on Rosa Parks, and you know, instead of just skipping this, I want to give you guys a real history lesson here. The bus boycott wasn't this random incident by this old courageous black woman against the system. It's actually something known as a test case, meaning they set up this event in order to not only bring attention to it, but ultimately send it to trial to prove their case. It went as far as to choosing the exact bus route, knowing which bus driver would get like the most upset, predicting how the police would handle the situation, to choosing Rosa Parks herself because she was more light-skinned than the original woman they had planned, and that her being more light-skinned would appeal more to the white public. I get why you don't really introduce all this to children, because, you know, it's a lot of these societal complexities that you really can't ask a just 4th grader to all take in. But I feel the need to tell you all this because, well, I can't keep saying, oh, here's a history lesson, let's go skip it. And because it's something not really taught later on in life. It really does highlight the struggle they had to do in order to get their voices heard and achieve justice in society. It wasn't all marches and speeches, it was actual legitimate work and strategy. Anyway, here's a wasted role of Samuel L. Jackson, who comes in to tell Martin some bad news.
What's happened?
Your house. Somebody bombed your house.
My family.
And prom's tomorrow. Luckily, everyone's fine and Samuel L. Jackson wants to give an eye for an eye.
Down, kill his family. They want to take his life. And for what? For trying to see that justice is done for Negroes. We can give them violence with guns and knives, bricks and bottles.
Tarantino has a really weird yet awesome take on Martin Luther King Jr.
Brothers and sisters, no, anger is not the way. Mahatma Gandhi.
Excuse me now, who are you talking about?
Mahatma Gandhi.
Gandhi. You sure do love him so much to having him wallpapered on your roof, but not enough to actually pronounce his name. But oh yeah, there was something about Miles and Randy traveling through time. I guess they go through another time warp, but now to a race riot. Oh joy. Yeah, Whippy, are you sure that sending these kids through such turbulent and violent times, especially one where he is a targeted minority, was really a great idea? I mean, they really aren't fully sugarcoating the police brutality here. I'm actually really worried about their safety and all.
7 years later, Miles, where's Dr. King's change?
Not in Birmingham.
On second thoughts, let's not go to Camelot. It is a silly place.
Right. Well, now they finally are back in modern times, and luckily in one piece, just as the field trip is about to end. The next day, oh my god, I forgot about this. Okay, this is the second most weirdest moment in the film, and it's second for a reason, because there's another odd moment we're gonna get to later, but it's moments like this that really goes to show why this special has just stood out in not only my mind, but other people's minds when shown. So, it starts out normal with them watching footage reel of Martin Luther King and such, even though they just had the field trip and whatever.
Martin was trying to bring blacks and whites together, so Bull threw Martin in jail. Then Bull wouldn't let anybody even talk to Martin. His family didn't hear from him for days. And Martin's wife, Coretta, got real scared and called the White House. Yeah, and the president, John Kennedy, busted Bull Connor big time. And
Hawk, I just heard a word that starts with an S, ends with an S, and has a lot inside. A lot of me!
Made him give Martin his legal rights and therefore his freedom.
So far it seems normal. I might as well have this nice glass of water I can calmly drink.
Their constitutional rights demand.
Aw, man, that's...
Damn good coffee.
Why? Why? I get that you want to show them that, you know, they indeed traveled through time, but it's just so out of place that you actually had to put animation there with actual stock footage. It's like if I put footage of the Magic School Bus taking a trip to the grassy knoll. It's just so hilarious how much it stands out, and even more hilarious how it isn't even lined up half the time.
And that's when the whole country realized the laws were wrong and had to change. It took a long time, but Martin was so cool that President Kennedy and he united in a common cause.
Nothing bad ever happens to the Kennedys!
Equality for all Americans!
To make it even more weird, it's only the bully and Maria who notice how completely out of place they are. And even then, it's only a slight suspicion like, hey, those guys look familiar. Their suspicion leads them to follow Miles and Randy, who head back to the house for more time travel shenanigans, because there wasn't a larger risk of hanging by a noose beforehand. Hell, even Whoopi helps them into the house now, because the House of Martin needs more victims, apparently. They confront Miles and Randy, who decide to take them along for the ride, because why not? And they arrive at the famous Martin Luther King speech in Washington, D.C., but that's not important right now, because Miles is about to get his ass kicked.
Yeah, well, I've had enough of you, too.
Now you're talking.
Boys, I'm disappointed. Since you came all this way to march with us, I would think you'd take our message of nonviolence to heart.
You're right. Maria Cal, this is our friend Martin.
Martin? Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.?
The same. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the march.
Here, King isn't played by any celebrity, but King's actual son, Dexter King. He gives some speech about kindness and shit, you know, all that jazz, and Miles gives the bully a fitting shirt for once. Hooray! Racism solved! Soon enough, we are greeted with a younger version of the Susan Sarandon teacher, and I never thought I'd say this, but stop giving me a boner, Martin Luther King movie! And now, to hear Martin Luther King's famous speech. If you could actually hear it! See, I'm a cheap bastard. I could have paid like $5 on eBay or Amazon for this, with 4 said bucks being going towards shipping, so I ripped this off YouTube. And from this rip, you can't actually hear the speech because it's muted. Even if I had the VHS, I wouldn't be allowed to use it because the King family are dicks with the copyright law. Yeah, if you didn't know, all of King's speeches are copyrighted, and they have one hell of a grip on not only his speeches, but his image. Hell, this apparently fucked over the production of Selma because they had to paraphrase all the speeches they give because the family wouldn't allow them to use their speeches. Because as it turns out, Steven Spielberg has the life rights to all the speeches in use of a film. And, well, look how well he's using that. But you know what they also did allow that for? Yeah! You can buy the speech, though, for $20 in its entirety on DVD, which today just seems like such malarkey. I get why they would need to do it back in the 60s, and this seems more like an issue with the already messed up copyright law, but this is just really silly in regards to modern day. Besides, I was able to get around it a bit and able to show you how the speech really went.
I had a dream once
It was a dream that little black boys and little black girls would drink from the river of prosperity, freed from the thirst of oppression. But lo and behold, some 4 decades later, what have I found but a bunch of trifling, shiftless, good-for-nothing niggers? And I know some of you don't want to hear me say that word. It's the ugliest word in the English language, but that's what I see now, niggers. And you don't want to be a nigger, because niggers are living contradictions. Niggers are full of unfulfilled ambitions. Niggers wax and wane. Niggers love to complain. Niggers love to hear themselves talk but hate to explain. Niggers love being another man's judge and jury. Niggers procrastinate until it's time to worry. Niggers love to be late. Niggers hate to hurry. Seen what's around the corner. I've seen what's over the horizon, and I promise you, you niggers have nothing to celebrate. And no, I won't get there with you. I'm going to Canada.
They return to the present all finding good, but they soon find out the terrible truth.
Randy, it's Coretta, Martin's wife, dressed in black.
Over here.
Martin was assassinated.
Alrighty, I would get on their ass because how the fuck would they not know Martin Luther King was assassinated? Because I'd assume it'd be brought up at some point at their school. You know, my white ass went into Straight Outta Compton not knowing Eazy-E died of AIDS, so, you know, I'm just gonna cut him some slack here. So, what do you do with knowledge of his death in a house that can apparently take you back in time?
We've got to bring Martin to the future, and we can save him. But remember, we're not gonna tell him about what we just read.
Hell yeah, this is gonna be awesome. We're gonna do so much with civil rights and have race relations be so much better. And why are you going when he's a kid? No.
Hey, Martin, come with us. We want you to see all the good things you've done and how your dream paved the way for people like Cesar Chavez.
And General Colin Powell and Maya Angelou.
All this sounds too good to be true. Okay, I'll give it a go.
You wonder why I asked this and why I put all the thought into this. Well, remember when I said earlier that moment with their animation lined up with stock footage was only the second most weirdest part of the special? Well, here's the first.
Hey, Randy, where did you guys land?
If you're thinking of ripping off this skateboard, you've got another think coming.
Huh? Very funny, Kyle. Quit kidding around. Need some help here, buddy? Buddy? Since when are you and Kyle best buds? Randy, tell this dork to knock it off. Don't call my best friend a dork. Now split. What? Randy, just, move it if you know what's good for you.
Yeah. They have legit entered the darkest timeline. Without Martin Luther King, racism would win, ignoring all those other civil leaders who put in all that hard work, but yeah, who the fuck cares about them? Would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man that walks 1,000 miles to not get lynched at your door. Find a school is now Jefferson Davis Elementary, which, you know, was still always in second place still. Randy and the bully are now friends because racism brings everyone together, I guess. And Susan Sarandon is in more conservative clothing, I guess? Is there anything right in this world?
Maria!
See?
Maria, it's me, Miles. What are you doing?
¿Qué? No comprendo, no hablo inglés.
Maria?
No, por favor.
Oh, the Latino help are on their hands and knees, just as the good Lord intended. All's right in the world. On the next day, little Martin has fully seen the world without his future influence, and makes the decision to try to return into his own time.
What matters is that you're not afraid to make a difference. Seeing you with your friends before, how you all got along so well, that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, but there's something I didn't tell you.
Please don't tell me anymore. Am I right?
Right.
I hope I get to remember you.
Always really stuck out to me, even when I watched it when I was younger, to watch this kid knowing only vague notions of his future, just going ahead and cementing his destiny in order to avoid a world like this, even if the cost is high. They don't fully shy away from, yeah, he was assassinated. It's moments like these that make the film really stand out and show maturity in a rather elementary school level special. It isn't talking down to the viewer, and it shows the power and the impact Martin Luther King really did have, even with footage before his assassination. Wait a minute, hold up. Can we zoom back a bit? I swear, I think I see something. Wait. Oh my god! It was the bus driver! It was the bus driver that actually shot MLK! Oh god, how could we not known? Wait. Go back to the JFK footage. He's on the grassy knoll too! We gotta stop him! We can't let him keep getting away with this! We gotta...
Цель уничтожена!
Anyway, Miles returns back to his time all safe and sound, and Miles and his friends decide to go to an abandoned area, clean it all up, paint a cute little mural, and have a song played all about peace and love and all that shit, and the plot was a bit more interesting when we went to the mirror universe. Can we kind of go back there for a bit? There! Racism is solved. Ain't that right, Rodney King? This is really something that would only exist in the 90s. From the goofy-ass premise, the celebrity cast, if everyone loved each other, the world would be a better place simplicity. It's a real interesting time capsule, especially with it being released in 1999, and it being something that could not be replicated nowadays, even with sincerity. In a way, you can view this as the last gasp of the 90s coming into place. And in a weird way, I see no better swan song for the 90s than this. Despite the childish tone and simplicity, it's the more out there moments of sudden maturity and weird ass ideas that really do keep it in my memory and for others as well. I don't think the question is whether or not I would recommend this film, but whether or not you are really curious enough to fully see for yourself or even fully revisit it for yourself on your own. And if this video in any way made you want to do that, go on ahead, man.
Coming to video, Our Friend Martin, an exciting full-length animated adventure about 12-year-old Miles and his best friend Randy, who journey back through time and meet Martin Luther King Jr. during various stages of his life.
Whoa, Randy, this is major magic time. We're actually in the past.
Featuring an all-star cast, original music and songs, and actual historical footage of Dr. King.
I have a dream.
Our Friend Martin, an entertaining and inspiring tale for the whole family.
And all we need is a dream and the courage to make it happen.
Coming exclusively to video from CBS Fox.